Trujillo,
Present.
Councilmember Scott, Councilmember Baca,
Present.
City Attorney Eric Vell,
Present.
Interim City Manager G. Michael Milhite.
Present.
All right, okay. So with that, I don't see anyone. I would assume no one has asked to speak in public comments, Madam City Clerk.
No.
So I will ask to turn it over to our counsel so he can lead us into closed session.
Thank you, Mayor. We have 3 items on your closed session tonight. City Manager and I are recommending that we rearrange the order just slightly, and I'll read them in the order we'd like them to take them. The first one would be a conference with legal counsel regarding anticipated litigation, one item of potential contract dispute that's currently listed on your agenda as item 3. We'll take that as number 1. And then we'll jump back to the conference with legal counsel with one item of existing litigation. That's the Hernandez versus City of Rialto case. We'll take that as the second item. And then we'll conclude with your conference with your labor negotiator under item 3. Those are your only items, and as you mentioned, there's nobody here to make any comments, so you can recess into closed session.
Okay, is there anybody have any particular comments about the order or any objections?
Okay. Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Baca and seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Carazellis that we move into closed session. Any objections? Hearing none, we're in closed session at 5:02. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I would like to go on and call this meeting to order. Today it is Tuesday, July 23rd, and this is our regular scheduled council meeting. This is the council meeting that's also acting as the successor agency to the redevelopment agency, the Rialto Authority, Utility Authority, and the Rialto Housing Authority. Calling the meeting order at 6:30 p.m. Madam City Clerk, could we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Robertson.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Carricellos.
Present.
Councilmember Baca.
Present.
Councilmember Trujillo.
Present.
Councilmember Scott.
Present.
City Treasurer Ed Correa.
Present.
City Attorney Eric Bell.
Present.
Interim City Manager Michael Milheiser.
Present.
Good. Then, thank you, everyone. Okay. Now, we'll move right into the Pledge of Allegiance, and I would ask if you would all stand and join me as we salute our flag, and then remain standing for invocation, and it will be Pastor Victor Lopez for Calvary Chapel, Rialto. Okay, ready? Begin. All right, thank you.
Let's pray. Precious Lord, we thank you for a day like today where we can gather with the purpose, Lord, of conducting the business of this mighty city. We thank you, Lord, for all the magnificent resources that you have blessed the city with. Lord, from its people, from its servants, from its public servants to the leadership. And Lord, we truly want to honor you. Sometimes, Lord, we want your blessing, but we don't want to do what is right. And I pray that today we take every opportunity to do what is right, the things that will honor you, that will be right by you and right by the people. We have this great responsibility as public servants to manage, Lord, to be good stewards, to give an account, to lead, Lord, to work and to be diligent. And I know this agenda before us today is full. There's so many matters, so many resolutions to consider. Reality is, Lord, that many of us are educated above our level of obedience, and we want to walk to obedience today. So I pray that you would give our leadership wisdom. Lord, thank you for them. Would you please bless them? I know they're under tremendous amounts of pressure and responsibility. And I pray that you would truly be pleased, Lord, with the outcomes today. We thank you for your faithfulness. We know that you will remain faithful to the end. And we praise you in Jesus' precious name. And we all say, amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. And now we will move right into the city attorney. I'd ask that he would report out on closed session.
I'd be happy to do that, Mayor. We had 3 items on our closed session for this evening. I announced those out earlier at our preliminary session. The council did meet on each one of the items that's listed on the closed session agenda, heard from legal counsel or their labor negotiator, and completed each of those items. Other than that, there was no reportable action. Thank you.
Thank
Madam
you.
Mayor, could I ask the city attorney, what time do we return back?
We finished at 6:15.
Thank you.
All right. So now we will move into a section that's presentations and proclamations that we generally have recognizing various activities and individuals. And so we have 2, and then I do have another one that I failed, unfortunately, to be able to get it onto the agenda, but I will check while Councilmember Scott will do a presentation for our Parks and Recreation Department for Parks and Recreation Month. Okay? And I'm gonna be right back. I don't ask questions, just-
Good evening. Director Alvarado and staff members. Come on, move it. Get up in here. This is my favorite Parks and Rec director, just to let everybody know. It is an honor tonight to present this proclamation to the Parks and Rec Department and the residents of the City of Rialto. Proclamation number 6, Series 2024. Whereas Parks and Recreation are an integral part of communities throughout this country, including the City of Rialto. And whereas Parks and Recreation promotes health, wellness, improving the physical and mental health of people who live near parks, and whereas Parks and Recreation promotes time spent in nature, which positively impacts mental health by increasing cognitive performance and well-being and alleviating illnesses such as depression, attention deficit disorders, and Alzheimer's. And whereas Parks and Recreation is a leading provider of healthy meals, nutrition services, and education. Whereas Park and Recreation programming and education activities such as out-of-school time programming, youth sports, and environmental education are critical to childhood development. And whereas Parks and Recreation increase a community's economic prosperity through increased property values, expansion of local tax base, increased tourism, and attraction and retention of businesses and crime reduction. Whereas Parks and Recreation is essential and adaptable infrastructure that makes our communities resilient in the face of natural disasters and climate change. And whereas our parks and natural recreation areas ensure the ecological beauty of our community and provide a place for children and adults to connect with nature and create outdoors. And whereas the United States House of Representatives has designated July as Parks and Recreation Month, and whereas the City of Rialto recognizes the benefits derived from parks and recreation resources, July as Park and Recreation Month, now therefore be it resolved by the City of Rialto City Council that July is recognized as Park and Recreation Month in the City of Rialto, signed by Mayor Robertson and attested to by City Clerk McGee. It is indeed an honor to present this to you and your staff for the great job you guys do. And I sincerely mean that from my heart. I think you guys do a great job in our community. Our events are wonderful, and you're all very hardworking. So I really want to thank you very much for everything you do for our city and our community.
Thank you, Councilmember Scott, for presenting that to our department. Mayor Pro Tem, and members of the council, on behalf of my amazing team and I want to thank you for your unwavering support of the Parks and Recreation Department. Your dedication and belief in our mission have enabled us to provide our community with creative and fun programming, offering opportunities to experience events, activities, and our amazing park spaces. I want to also take this time to thank our sister departments who support us in making magic happen. This past month has been nothing short of amazing, from Double Dare obstacle courses to art and exercise classes in the park, and even glow-in-the-dark pickleball. Our residents have enjoyed a variety of activities that many have never experienced before. These innovative programs are a testament to what we can achieve while thinking outside of the box and with your support. Leading this team is a pleasure, and serving the Rialto community is an even greater honor. Our department works tirelessly to ignite the spirit of our diverse community through dynamic and inclusive experiences. I want to leave you with a little bit of a glimpse of what July has looked like, celebrating Parks and Rec Month. Gabe, if you can play the video.
as the park and recreation staff walks off, and the director for the department, Ms. Alvarado, I just want to say there was one other event that you had this weekend, and that was another successful event that wasn't up there, and that was the Rialto Heritage Day and the historical, and that was a great turnout and a great event. So still more to come. The month isn't over, but thank you for that one as well.
Mayor, if I may.
Yes, Council.
Yes, I'd also like to commend Cynthia for the outstanding work that she's done, not just for July, but throughout the year in the programs, activities that we have had, not only for our youth, but for our seniors and for the citizens of the city of Rialto. I think the city of Rialto should be very happy and glad that we have activities for them to participate throughout the year. Through your leadership, your innovation, your creative ideas, and the kind of programs that we have are very positive in building the image that the city of Rialto cares about our citizens and what we do. So I commend you and your staff, and we look forward to working with you this following year and being as creative and looking outside the box in terms of what else that we can provide for our citizens here in the city of Rialto. Thank you very much for all that you've done and the staff.
Councilmember Trujillo, I see you have your light on as well.
Yeah, I definitely want to show my appreciation as well. You know, I see that you're always trying to push the envelope, trying to do like the newest thing, and I really appreciated the double dare that you brought to some of your activities. Brought me back to some of my childhood experiences. So, again, thank you for kind of thinking about our residents and trying to find ways to come and help celebrate our community, because I think that's an important part of our city. So thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. I just want to echo what everyone has said, and just to add that the last few years you have brought events to this city that no one has ever seen. All the cities around us are jealous about all the events that we have. I go to most of them, and I see and talk to people that are from Colton, Fontana, and all the other cities, and they're here joining in ours. So congratulations and thanks for just really going out of your way and using your creativity to just bring on these great events that are inclusive of all the ethnicities here in the city of Rialto. So thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So we have two more presentations. And the next presentation, I would like to call Ms. Orlinda Patterson up along with myself so that she can give some recognition and those who work in Rialto Net Worth. I'm going to leave Ms. Patterson to make the presentation.
Thank you, Mayor, and City of Rialto, thank you for this opportunity. All of our leadership here is amazing and wonderful, and thank you for the work that you as well do for us, the people in Rialto. Thank you. I work with Rialto Network, and I've worked with them many years. And I work with a young man who is amazing, and a young woman who is amazing, and the team that we have here are people who have participated and have given us a hand and are here to appreciate and to thank the staff at Rialto Network. We have Gabriel, who is an amazing young man. We have Jasmine, who is an amazing young woman, who, by the way, I was part of the interview that she inspired, and I am flattered that she has done more than well. She is an amazing young woman, amazing. I would like to see that one day, thank you, and Gabriel, where are you? And Jasmine, I know that you're probably working somewhere. But if one of you can pop in, these are the certificates that we are going to give them again.
There they are. Look, there they are. Work it out, work it out.
I want to tell you, Gabriel has always been a working man. At every event, he is ready with the camera. He is ready to make it shine. He is ready to make the city of saw a moment ago, or in wellness, or in television shows like I produce. Now, Mr. Adams here has another television show that is good for the city, and I'm really proud of that. Okay, Ramsey is oncoming. He's going to be a new producer host. And
Yes.
we're here and mentoring him and training him for the future of Rialto. He's bilingual, so it's an amazing opportunity as well. I was speaking all this time and nobody was listening. Well, see, this is why this man is amazing. Gabriel Belton. And Jasmine, you're out there too. But our people love them. They are always ready to say, hey, Early. They don't want to say you did it wrong, but they say, hey. And thank you for the beautiful work that you and Jasmine do. Great work, right, guys? All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Betty can't be here tonight. She's at work. But the other producers as well are working. But there are about 9 producers now and hosts here in the city of Rialto doing their own shows, providing the community, the city of Rialto, and YouTube some amazing television programs. So thank you, City of Rialto, for the opportunity that you have given us to be able to provide this to our city, to our people. Now, in addition to this, it's a surprise, sort of. I belong to another group called Pathway from Boys to Men, and they have given me a letter that they want me to present to the mayor. They are providing her the title of Lifetime Achievement Award. So they would like you to please attend if possible. So
Okay.
thank you, Mayor, for all the work and opportunity. Congressman, councilman, all of you, thank you for the great work that you all do. And gentlemen, thank you for coming to support us today.
Yeah, go right ahead, Ramsey. Hi, Ramsey.
Hi, nice to meet you. My name is Ramses Munoz. High school at Grand Terrace High School, senior year. My mom she's also involved in the TV and stuff like that. So just want to give a big thank you for Gabriel and Jasmine, everything they have done. They're actually outstanding. Thank you for the time and everything for you guys having us here as well. My mom, she sadly wasn't here, but she hosts she hosts a TV show called Pulso de la Comunidad, which is in Spanish, Spanish TV language. And she just wanted for me to tell you guys that she's very appreciated. She feels very welcomed. It's a great to live here in Rialto. It's for the best. So just want to say thank you. I'm glad to step up and start doing my own show here in Rialto. So just want to show my love, all the appreciation that I have towards this city and the great people that we have in this city. So can't wait for the future. Thank you very much. Thank you.
As you can see, he definitely is one of us.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I thought that Ms. Patterson and Ramsey, I thought you guys were going to premiere the show that will be coming out, and they will be doing some taping in order to really get some input from some of our youth before they go back to school for the fall session. So anyway, looking forward to that. Okay, and then the last presentation that unfortunately I failed to get notify the clerk's office that I wanted it on the agenda. But in June, we had a wonderful event, which was our second annual Juneteenth Juneteenth event in our city. And I think it was at the end of the month, really did not have a chance to highlight that. And so I have asked if Ms. Vicki Davis would come up and give us a recap for our Juneteenth event that we held on June 19th. And I haven't received the numbers yet, but I think through PD and others, it was a tremendous success. But I would ask that she give us some recaps of the folks that were there. I know our city manager was able to stop by. We did a few pictures, but not in any way justice to what the event was about. So, Ms. Davis, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, esteemed council members, for having me here today. I truly appreciate your time. I did provide a video to be played, so we're gonna watch that first, and then I'll give a brief recap of the event.
All right. Okay.
It means freedom. It means power, the ability to survive all life challenges and continue to move forward in life. And this is an awesome celebration here. What do you think?
I think the same. I think you said it.
Juneteenth means liberation. It means emancipation. It means that now African American people have the same rights and privileges as other human beings, and now it's time to maximize that freedom.
Juneteenth means a celebration of freedom for African Americans that happened in 1865. I am originally from Texas, and so Texas got the word last of Juneteenth, so it's nice to know that we're celebrating the holiday now.
I grew up in the South. Juneteenth means a lot to me in the South. That's one of the few days where I was set up to go out and have a good time. It's grown a lot since then.
We're not where we started. And so Juneteenth is a celebration of us beginning that journey to really understanding what true freedom is about.
It's good to see that it's not just in one area, that it's celebrations all over. And the fact that it's a national holiday, federal holiday now, it makes it the cream on the crop.
Oh, I'm very excited. Honestly, this is my first Juneteenth event. And I'm very grateful that they're bringing light to Juneteenth and what that means to my community.
Rialto is just an incredible place for our community to see all the families, the community from San Bernardino, Fontana, all over the IE to show up here in Rialto. It's amazing. It's wonderful.
This just shows that this isn't just a black thing. This isn't just an African American thing. This is a people thing.
It means a lot. We're glad that, cities are putting events like this on because it brings our communities together.
The fact that we're celebrating it nationwide, I love that.
As you can see, we have a rich culture right here in the IE, and this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Celebrating our black excellence, celebrating our freedom, and there's many more. It starts today.
Yeah.
So everybody should get together. There's going to be no fights. Everything is just fun.
Oh, thank you. So unfortunately, the voice wasn't on there, but I'll just recap. The community members were kind of giving their feelings about what Juneteenth means to them and what it means to their family and how important it is for them to be able to gather here in the city of Rialto to celebrate that. And the most important testimonial on there, in my opinion, was the young man that you saw at the end, about 10 years old. And he said, "Today, there is no fighting and everything feels safe." Mm-hmm. There are many ways that you can empower and encourage a community, but none more effective than leveraging the embedded cultural traditions that exist within communities, families, and individual citizens. That is what Juneteenth Jam does for the city of Rialto. Led by a collective of community-based organizations ranging from faith-based to criminal intervention, to mental health, to social and athletic clubs, Rialto Juneteenth Committee members are first and foremost community members who find joy and pride in sharing the experience of honoring the history and significance of Juneteenth. In this, our second year, we saw growth from our inaugural event by leaps and strides, in part thanks to the investment of our city into this very special occasion. This year, we saw participation increase from approximately 2,500 in the first year to around 5,000 community members, from 65 vendors and community-based organizations to over 90 community-based organizations. I would like to draw your attention to the young man that I mentioned, who was the most important testimonial there, in that he said, "There is no fighting." Now, I want you to think for a moment that this young man is about 10 years old and surrounded by games, scavenger hunts, football, trains, jumpers, laughter, dancing, and his quote is, "There is no fighting." Now I want you to consider for a moment the potential life experiences that that young man has had in his home, at school, in the community, and by proxy through media that will cause him to focus on the lack of fighting rather than the abundance of joy. This is why it is important that we continue this effort as a community to normalize joy so that as this young man continues to grow, he may experience a shift from noticing the lack of fighting and rather focusing on the plentiful joy that we build in our city through events like this when you allow the community to spearhead. Thank you tremendously for allowing us to honor the honor of hosting this event in partnership with you, and as we look for growth, I would like to respectfully request that we increase our investment in this event to reflect the growth that we have seen in just these 2 years. We appreciate greatly all of the time, energy, and opportunities that you guys allow for us here in the city, and thank you again for supporting Juneteenth Jam, and I appreciate your time. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, City Council.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Davis. Thank you. Okay, I do believe that concludes the presentations for today and proclamations. And now we'll move on to the items at hand. And the next item on the agenda is oral communications in general. Madam City Clerk, is there anyone who wanted to speak on oral communications in general? Ms. Summers.
Good evening, everyone. Again, I am here to give you a little bit of good news and bad news. But it's an update. If you don't mind, can you just pass that to them? I was at the Farm Bureau, and we were talking about the fruit fly. And so Rialto, I will say, San Bernardino County is still a part of it. So if you will look at, I think I made copies for everybody, but if you're able to look, everything in the blue is still a part of it. Believe it or not, Riverside County came out of the fruit fly. So we're starting to sit down and try to figure out what we can do and talk.
Apparently there's not enough copies.
Oh, here's one more. I can give it. So apparently there's things that we're going to be doing and that we're going to be looking at, and I will definitely be bringing it back to the community as well as the council, because I want us all to realize that we play a part. If you have a fruit tree, please, whatever you do, if the fruit falls, and I know I have fig trees, and figs are a part of this fruit fly. I'm constantly getting my figs off the ground. So it's something that we just want everybody to really start thinking about. If something falls on the ground, please, please get it up and dispose of it in the green trash. We don't know exactly how, and now that it's getting hotter, we're seeing that we may not be able to come out of it for the summer, but again, we're not exactly sure. I will be giving an update, but I just wanted to make sure that everyone knows that we still are in danger. Make sure that whatever you do, if you have fruit at home, do not take it out of your area. Try to process it right there on the grounds, and on the grounds meaning at your home. Don't go and give it to your family or friends in Barstow or any any place else that is our bread basket. And that's pretty much all I wanted to say about that. So thank you so much for allowing me to share with you about an update on the fruit fly.
Okay, thank you. Just comment, you gave us a map and it delineates a blue area and then a pink area. Is there some differences between
So
the areas?
The blue area is us, and it still means that we're under quarantine. The pink area, like I said, is Riverside County, and they just came out of the quarantine.
Okay.
So for them to have as much fruit and vegetables as they grow, we're not exactly sure what they did, but once all of the fruit that they tested negative. So we're still, there's something that we're missing, and maybe because we have a larger area, I'm not exactly sure, but we're starting to work on that. And so once I've talked to the people at the Farm Bureau, we'll be able to bring some more information back to the community.
All right, thank you, thank you. Okay. Madam City Clerk, any additional oral communication? Ramsey?
I think I already spoke, my bad. I just didn't know if I had to sign in again, but just wanted to add on a little bit to what I was saying. Just wanted to say that Jasmine and Gabriel were such a great people, and I also wanted to add on the type of events that we also host, and like I said, Parks and Recreation. I just want to tell them everything they do is great. It feels like home here, really. It feels like home. There's nothing I can add that needs to be, you know. It's always moving constantly for the future. Just want to add great ideas that will be happening in the future. And it's just great to be here. So I'm sorry, I didn't know I put my name down there, but just wanted to add that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ramsey.
Next speaker we have is Logan Demeth. Logan, and I guess Evelyn Dominguez.
Good evening, Mayor and all our city councilors. My name is Logan Dominguez. I am a scholar at Boyd Elementary. I'm here to talk about Rialto's Adventureland Summer Camp. I had a lot of fun with my brothers Bruce and Remy Dominguez. We are able to go to a pool every Friday, visit the farmer's market, go to the city garden, play laser tag, did arts and crafts, and hosted a lemonade stand. I want to thank all my teachers, Mr. Sean, Miss Dee, Miss Debbie, Miss Isabel, Miss Valerie, Miss Brianna, and Miss Amanda. Thank you to Mrs. Cynthia. At Parks and Recreations for hosting this program. I cannot wait for the next summer program.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Good
Hello.
evening, Mayor and City
Good
Council
evening.
members. My name is Evelyn Dominguez. I wear many hats in the city of Rialto. I am a licensed nurse at our only skilled nursing facility here in Rialto, which is Rialto Post-Acute. I am a consumer. I am a proud catechist at St. Catherine's Church. I am the Rialto Unified School District's board clerk and a proud Latina However, the most important hat that I wear is the hat of a mom. I am here tonight to speak about Rialto's summer camp, Adventureland Summerland. Rialto's Adventureland Summer Program. First of all, I did not know that this July was Parks and Recreation's month, so this was not planned at all. I just knew that this program was amazing, and I had to let you guys know about it. My 3 boys have attended this program, Logan, Bruce, and Remy, and every day has been a new adventure for them. This program has not only met their social interaction needs, their social, emotional, and mental health. They have learned financial literacy by hosting the lemonade stand. They have learned how to advocate for others by helping the youngest ones in the program. When they need help, the olders say, hey, Mrs. D, Mr. Sean, so-and-so needs help. So they've learned how to advocate. I was told by one of the parents and also my other kids that they are there for the kids, for the younger ones, and they always keep an eye out for them. It has helped me as a parent help reduce their screen time, and also it has helped me, I'm running out of time. It has also helped me teach my boys about service. I would like to thank Mr. Sean Pickle, Mrs. Deborah Johnson, Mrs. Valerie Bonilla, and Mrs. Isabel Chavez, Debbie Page, Brianna Jaimes, and Amanda Strait. As a mom, I'm very thankful to the City Council for being able to support programs like this. And as a board member, I want to thank you for supporting our scholars with programs like this. This program was definitely created with kids in mind and not just a program that checks all the boxes. So thank you again, and I hope that programs like this continue to exist in our city, and I know that there's talks about possibly having something like this for our fall and also our winter break. So thank you again, and congratulations to our city and parks.
All right, thank you.
Good job, Logan.
Next speaker we have is Veronica Perez.
Hello. Today I'm going to read you a couple of excerpts from other people's writings so you guys don't have to listen to my words today. So this is a joint statement of U.S. government officials who have resigned over U.S. policy towards Gaza, Palestine, and Israel. The administration's policy in Gaza is a failure and a threat to U.S. national security. America's diplomatic cover for and continuous flow of arms to Israel has ensured our undeniable complicity in the killings and forced starvation of a besieged Palestinian population in Gaza. This is not only morally reprehensible and in clear violation of international humanitarian law and U.S. laws, but it has also put a target on America's back. This policy risks U.S. national security and the lives of our service members and diplomats, as has already been made evident with the killing of 3 U.S. service members in Jordan in January, and the evacuations of diplomatic facilities in the Middle East, and also poses a security risk for American citizens at home and abroad. Despite this, the administration's choices have continued to threaten U.S. interests throughout the region. Our nation's political and economic interests across the region have also been significantly harmed, while U.S. credibility has been deeply undermined worldwide at a time we need it most, when the world is characterized by a new era of strategic competition. U.S. policy choices have begotten a disaster. First and foremost, it is the catastrophic and rapidly escalating humanitarian crisis that the Israeli government has created for the Palestinian people, for whom the missteps of the ink of American bureaucracy has been paid in the blood of innocent men, women, and children. To date, and this is old, the figure's higher, over 37,000 Palestinians have been killed. The vast majority of civilian and humanitarian infrastructure has been destroyed. Thousands of innocent people remain missing under the rubble, and millions continue to face a manufactured famine due to Israel's arbitrary restrictions on food, water, medicine, and other critical humanitarian goods. Yet rather than hold the government of Israel responsible for its role in arbitrarily impending humanitarian assistance, the U.S. has cut off funding to the single largest provider of humanitarian assistance in Gaza, UNRWA, the UN Agency for Palestinians. Second, we note with further concern and sadness that U.S. policy for many years, but particularly since October 2023, has not only contributed to immense humanitarian harm, but has failed with measured against its own declaration intent to contribute to the peace and safety of all in the Middle East, and particularly that of Israel. Rather than using our immense leverage to establish guardrails that can guide Israel towards a lasting and just peace, we have facilitated its self-destructive actions that have deepened its political quagmire and contribute to its enduring global isolation. There is no regional settlement, no agreement with autocratic regimes, no diplomatic step short of resolution of the Palestinian right to self-determination that can provide Israel with real security. Third, U.S. policies in the region have been deeply damaging, not only for U.S. relations in the region, but for global credibility, the credibility of U.S. values, and the credibility of the West, a particularly perilous state of affairs in the context of this era of strategic competition. Not only have we inflicted deep and lasting damage to our relations across the region and destabilized the Middle East, but our policies towards Gaza have led us to double down on our support to brittle regional autocracies as hedges against public opinion. Meanwhile, on the global stage, who does not see us as hypocrites when the United States condemns Russian war crimes while we unconditionally arm and excuse Israel? Who does not now laugh when Secretary Blinken describes the rules-based international order while simultaneously undermining it in favor of Israel? A target after the decades Americans have spent building that order. I'd like now to read for you a statement that was put out today by 7 unions representing about 6 million workers in our nation. This letter was written for President Biden. We write to publicly call upon your administration to immediately halt all military aid to Israel as part of the work to secure an immediate and permanent ceasefire in the war in Gaza. We all share hope that the 3-part ceasefire proposal you outlined in the final week of May would bear fruit, allowing for the immediate end of violence, the safe return of hostages, and the creation of space for a lasting peace. As we write you today, however, neither Israel nor Hamas has accepted the agreement as proposed. Prime Minister Netanyahu and his cabinet members have publicly refused key elements of the deal, despite your characterizing it as an Israeli proposal. As you said on May 31st, the Israeli response has devastated Hamas forces over the past 8 months, and that Hamas is no longer capable of carrying out another October 7th. Yet it is clear that the Israeli government will continue to pursue its vicious response to the horrific attacks of October 7th until it is forced to stop. We believe that immediately cutting U.S. military aid to the Israeli government is necessary to bring about peaceful resolution to this conflict. Recent reports only underscore the urgency of our demands. Large numbers of Palestinian civilians, many of them children, continue to be killed, reportedly often with U.S. manufactured bombs. Rising tensions in the region threaten to ensnare even more innocent civilians in a wider war.
I'm sorry, but your 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you very much for listening to me. I hope you respond to my emails. I hope you stop ignoring me. I hope you do some research tonight about what is going on, because as you continue to ignore it, a genocide is unfolding with your full support because you continue to remain silent. I would like for this council to meet with me to pass a ceasefire resolution. Even if you disagree with me, at least have a backbone and meet with me and respond to me. Thank you.
Next speaker we have is Mary Baker.
Mary Baker.
Mary Baker? Okay.
Nope.
That's it.
Okay.
Everything else is for tabs.
Okay, thank you. All right. So that concludes our oral communications. And now we will move into the agenda for today. And if there's anything that council would like to consider removing or continuing an item on the agenda, please speak. Note now. I do have one one item that I will recuse myself on, and I will be acting on our tab items for the consent calendars under the warrants, but on warrant resolution number 49, under consent calendar item B1, National Council of Negro Women, there is a payment that has been made for $4,368.13, and my motion will not include acting on that item. Is that sufficient, council? Thank you. Is there any other items on the agenda or in the consent agenda anyone would like to change? If not, I'll entertain the motion.
Move to approve the
Second.
consent item.
Okay, that been moved by Councilmember Baca and seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Carrizales to move the consent calendar. Any objections? Hearing no objections, the consent calendar has been moved. Now we'll go into tab number 1. And that tab will start off with I believe that is going to be City Council and Rialto Utility Authority. And that is our City Manager. Would you like to lead off on tab number 1?
Yes, Madam Mayor, we'd like to introduce Steve, and Steve will make the initial presentation and then followed up by some additional staff.
Okay. And I guess I'll note for the record, this is the continuum of the tab 1 was a continuum of the wastewater or the water rate increases, and we carried it over to this council meeting. So thank you, Mr.
And Mayor, I'll just add, we did continue the public hearing open, so it's already open. What we'll need at the end of anybody who has comments is just a motion to close the public hearing at this time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great. Madam Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council, tonight's tab item number 1 is a continuation of the June 25th, 2024 public hearing. At that meeting, the council adopted the first year of the proposed rate study, which would be effective January 1, 2025, with the direction to bring back 2 items tonight for consideration, which is why the public hearing remained open. The first item was to transfer $30 million from the city's unrestricted general fund to the Rialto Utility Authority's water and wastewater reserve funds to help mitigate those rate adjustments. Based on the original distribution authorized back at the time of that original transfer, $5 million would now be transferred back to the Water Reserve Fund, and $25 million would be transferred back to the Wastewater Reserve Fund. Additional direction was also given at that June 25th meeting to analyze the impact of suspending for 1 year the utility users tax from January 1, 2025, when the rates would take effect, through December 31st of 2025. The proposed UUT, utility user tax suspension, is proposed for single-family, multifamily, and mobile home water, wastewater accounts to help mitigate that rate adjustment. One point of clarification to the staff report is the suspension of that UUT would also apply to customers that are paying the standby fees. So we just wanted to clarify that. We'll make sure we get that corrected in the motion for tonight. And so tonight we have the city's rate consultant, FG Solutions, here to just give a very brief presentation on what the impacts of those 2 items that we were asked to analyze and bring back to City Council. So for that, I'll introduce Art Griffith with FG Solutions.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, Council, and the public. I believe there is a here it is. Excellent. So tonight, as Stephen mentioned, is a recap of the June 25th, 2024 council meeting where council authorized the water and wastewater rate increase, the first one, effective January 2025. And as Stephen mentioned, directed staff to investigate and show the effect of transferring $30 million from the general fund to the utility funds and suspending the utility users tax for residential customers for 1 year, including residential customers who are standby customers. So as a way of a recap, your utilities, particularly your water utility, has revenues that exceed expenses. And in June, you took a step to increase the revenues into the water and wastewater utilities by adopting a rate increase effective in January of 2025. This table shows what happens with that single rate increase, and for this table, no future rate increases, plus the $5 million transfer into the water fund. The rows on this table are the next 5 years. The left column is the additional revenues that would be needed in each year for the water utility to pay its expenses and meet its contractual requirements in the concession agreement. So you can see what the $5 million does is it gets you through the next 2 fiscal years without any additional general fund support, during which time, if the council chooses, you can make other evaluations and future decisions about utility funding. The middle column is an interfund loan. So earlier this year, council authorized an interfund loan from the general fund to the water utility, but that is needs to be paid back. And so we've put a repayment schedule in. And so with this repayment schedule, the right column would be the net support from the general fund. So that is what the water utility would need over the next 5 years. Nothing from the general fund for the next 2 years, and then support would start to increase after that. That is giving council some time to consider future actions towards utility finances. The wastewater fund is where the bulk of this transfer would go to, $25 million. And with the 2025 rate increase, what this means is that the $25 million from the general fund could be used to augment wastewater utility revenues so that no future general fund support would be necessary over the next 5 years. And again, the same considerations over, in future years, the council can make decisions and evaluations on how it wants to address utility funding and what to do with those issues. Regarding the utility users tax, this is a table that was in the staff report, and what it shows is for the water system an average monthly bill, or a monthly bill for a customer using an average amount of water, 16 CCF, 100 cubic feet of water each month. So current water rates, your current water bill would be about $54.36. Add the UUT onto that, what shows up and what the customer has to pay is $58.71. The water rate effective in January would increase the amount of the water bill that's payable, and with the UUT, that would bring what a customer would pay almost to $73. Without the UUT, the rate change is you would go from $58.71 now, current rates plus UUT, to the 2025 rate of monthly bill of $67.41 without any UUT, for an increase of $8.70 per month for a typical average single-family residence. Same story on the wastewater. Your current wastewater rate is $62.19 a month. The UUT on that is just under $5, so what a customer pays, including the utility users tax, is just over $67. The wastewater rate effective on January 25th or January 2025 would be $67.14. So the act of suspending the UUT on the wastewater side means a residential single-family residence wouldn't pay any more than they're paying now. So the current rate plus the current UUT is what the 2025 wastewater rate would be. And that's the end of my presentation. I wanted to make it brief, allow for any questions or discussions that you have for myself or Steve. Thank you.
This is still an open public hearing, and it's still open for comments from the public. I believe, Madam City Clerk, do you have any additional requests to respond to the public, to this open public hearing?
Yes, we have one. David Bailey.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, City
evening.
Council. I wasn't going to speak tonight until I saw how the language had been rewritten, cutting the utility tax for a year. My issue is don't charge the capital improvement projects onto the utility tax. You can have the utility tax. I totally understand how that works, but the capital improvement projects shouldn't be charged onto the customers. That was the water department. That was the sewer department. That was people that have misled you in the past, or other councils saying, oh, we got plenty of money, we're good, the system's fine. What I'm saying is, we can pay the utility tax, but don't put the capital improvement projects on the tax. So it's a 5-year plan that they had. Say, okay, well, you'll still pay your normal sewer rate with the utility tax, but make that item for the capital improvement projects off on its own, where it's not charged to the utility tax. Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
That's all for that tab.
That's all for that tap? All
Yes.
right. And there was no one else that didn't put in or wished to
No.
speak to it? All right, with that, then I will
Move to
entertain a
close
motion.
the public hearing.
Second.
Okay, it's been motioned to move to close the public hearing by Councilmember Scott and seconded by Councilmember Trujillo. Any objections? Hearing none. The public hearing is now closed. And so now with various members, do you have any comments or anything before we take an action? You have your,
Yeah. I have a question. We bring up our stuff. That's such a great your comment. I wanted to follow up on that. Do you have numbers regarding levels of the UT tax? Like if we were just to keep it at the current rate, and as opposed to, I think one of the questions was having to do with maintenance in terms of like projects. Do you see the differential between water rates of those that have to do with maintenance and those are just purely just water?
Are you referring to the comment about the capital
Yeah.
project? Yeah, a couple of things. So with regards to the capital projects, there still are ongoing discussions with the concessionaire. Some of the biggest projects, they haven't yet submitted what the total cost would be. So as it stands now, I think to answer the gentleman's question is that I don't anticipate that there would be a UUT charged on a separate capital component. Typically, your rates include your operations and planned capital, and that's what's normally on the bill because that's all the costs that would go into it. But with suspension of the UUT, you would not be paying UUT on any capital projects, and many of the capital projects that are funded have been previously funded through like development impact fees and things like that. So I think it would address that particular concern.
And has there been kind of an analysis of what would happen to our revenue with the decrease of
With the suspension?
UT, yeah. With this,
I would ask Art if what that total number is.
My questions are all intertwined with other things.
Sure.
We're doing one thing and then pulling from another, and I just kind of want to look at the bigger picture.
Yeah, understand. I think it was a response to some of the question or the
Yeah.
comments at that last meeting. So, Art, do you have that number? Are you looking it up?
I don't have the utility user tax revenue from residential customers right now.
Broke it out. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't see you back there. Sorry. Yeah.
Hi. Good evening, City Council. The amount of the tax that would be suspended would be approximately about $2.1 million.
for the 1 year?
Yes,
For 1 year?
for 1 year, yes.
So that clarifies some of the issues. For some reason, I thought it was like 20% or 20 million.
No.
The budget, okay. Thank you. Those are the questions I have for right now.
Councilmember Baca?
Yeah, Madam Mayor, in reference to the gentleman that just spoke about capital improvement projects, maybe we need to clarify the language too as well in terms of what the monies then would be used for, like you mentioned, Steve, that it would be for operational versus some of the other areas. So it needs to be clarified so the public then begins to know that there's a separation between our utility taxes that we're getting versus the capital improvement projects that are for operational versus some other funding that we'll get for capital.
I would clarify that, by the proposed suspension is on the entire bill. So by nature of suspending it for the next year, there would be no UUT charged. And so essentially by extension of the action tonight, there would be no UUT charge if the council so chose to approve the recommendation. So there isn't going to be a UUT that would be charged to any portion of the bill for operations or capital. So for the next year, I guess my point I'm making is it would address that.
But in the
particular-
following 2 years, we may.
Yeah, then we could certainly look at that, yeah.
Councilmember Scott.
Funds that the city raised through UUTs go to the general fund. They do not go to the water or wastewater fund. Is that correct?
Correct.
So none of the UUT funds are currently being used for capital projects in water or wastewater.
That's correct.
Okay. So the purpose of suspending it for 12 months was really to give relief to residents who are experiencing really bad economic times. We all know that we have to do a rate increase of some type, but the purpose of suspending this UUT is to give some relief to the residents so that actually their sewer fee is going to remain the same throughout next year. Then I would assume after next year we would take a look at CPIs and if any additional rates would come about on a yearly basis. Correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and I guess I would just add to the comments that were made, having been one of the two members that's on the water subcommittee and looking at exactly the fact that we are doing, in my mind as one of the members, we're meeting our obligation with the fact that we do have a contractual partnership. And we do need to take the action to move forward with the rate increases, which I think is part of it. However, one of the things, just to recap, is that we are not putting that rate increase in effect, not next month, but at the beginning of the first part of the year. And to underscore what Councilmember Scott raised, and I think when we brought the recommendation, was to suspend it for the 1 year. So we spend time looking at giving the relief, but also really reevaluating what we feel are, in fact, capital projects that need to go forward. And we agree on those as the partners. We agree on those capital projects. And at the same time, the maintenance and operation is still very much moving forward and operating. So I don't want us to get clouded. I hope we don't, because I think we recognize that with the cost of living, it's been very low, 3.4 COLA for most people, and the inflation that we're all experiencing is much higher. So we were just trying to find a way to balance, meet our contractual obligations, but at the same time, make sure our residents are really not seeing anything, any additional costs on top of the rate. So technically, the user fee will absorb what we would think would be the rate for the 1 year, the rate increase. That said, I think we will also, in our subcommittee, we will be going back, and you made note in your presentation that because it was brought to my attention that the utility user tax was also being applied to the people who are septic and on the standby fee. We're going to be looking at that, but it's not part of the actions we're taking tonight. But it will not be a utility user fee applied to anybody who's on septic and currently paying a standby fee. Am I correct?
That's correct, yes.
So with that, I won't want to go any further until we've had a chance to really analyze exactly that fee, the amount that has been collected, and I think we can report back in our August meeting from the subcommittee on what are those resources. So, any other thing that needs to be further clarified? If not, I would ask for a motion.
Madam Mayor, motion to approve Resolution 8266, RUA Resolution 08-38, authorizing the transfer of $30 million from the city's unrestricted general fund reserves to the authority's water fund and wastewater fund, allocating $5 million to the water reserve fund and $25 million to the wastewater fund, and adopt Resolution 8267, suspending the utility user tax from January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2025 for single-family, multifamily, mobile home, water, and wastewater accounts, which would include standby accounts.
Second the motion.
And that was you,
Second.
seconded by Councilmember Baca. So, any objections? I think, Madam Clerk, I would like to ask for a roll call vote.
I didn't hear the motion, just a joke.
Councilmember Scott, because it's been put on the record, the
No,
clerk
I-
didn't hear your motion. Would you repeat the motion?
No, I did. No, I was
I'm
gonna
sorry
thank-
that she's over there napping.
No, I was
The rest
not-
of us was listening.
No, I was not napping. First, I want to thank him for reading all the resolutions and making clarity, but I do, no, he did read the motion, but my question is to the city attorney. He added everything, because I thought he mentioned something was not in the report that.
He added that.
Oh, he
Yeah,
added
that was the
that.
last sentence to include the
Okay.
standby charge.
Thank-
Yeah, the standby
So it is-
charge under the.
Standby charge,
UT.
okay.
That's just a clarification.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And that was the utility user fee on the
Correct.
standby
On the
charge,
standby charge.
not affecting the
And
standby.
I will note that your utility tax ordinance defines that the tax is a charge, and it includes charges for water, for service, and anything else allowed by law. So it does include the standby charge. So it's in there. Talked about it, it's legal, done, added it, we're good to go.
Okay, well, you found that out between closed session and now? You read it? You found it, huh? Okay, good. We'll look at it again in Water Subcommittee tomorrow. Thank you.
Councilmember Scott?
Aye.
Councilmember Baca?
Aye.
Councilmember Trujillo?
Aye.
Mayor, had your mic on? Aye. Okay. Mayor Pro Tem Caracellas?
Aye.
Mayor Robertson?
Aye. Thank you. All right. Now moving on to tab number 2. And that will be presented by, looks like Mr.
Mr.
Michael
Sullivan.
There we go.
Hi, Mike. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Milhauser, for the introduction.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and members of council. Staff is requesting that City Council conduct a public hearing to adopt resolution number 8268, approving the engineering report and ordering the levy of assessments for fiscal year 24-25. Resolution number 8269 for landscape maintenance district number 1, and resolution number 8270 for landscape and lighting district number 2. During this presentation, there will be no proposal to increase assessments on the special districts known as LMDs, and I would also like to highlight the significant progress we've made in reducing the requested amount to cover the deficit from a general fund contribution. In comparison to fiscal year 23-24, we have successfully reduced the amount from 1.2 million to 497,000 in fiscal year 24-25, making a substantial reduction of 778,000. The method for calculating these special assessments for this district remains unchanged from last fiscal year. I will be providing a presentation highlighting the details contained within the engineering report. So this is slide. Streetlight District number 1. The city established SLD 1 throughout the entire city to fund the operation of the city streetlight system, consisting of over 3,750 streetlights, and to fund the cost for tree trimming and maintenance. Proposition 218 limits the tree trimming, limits the special assessments levied in SLD 1 to a historic maximum special assessment prior to November of 1996. Assessments on parcels are dependent upon their classification as residential or commercial, or whether vacant or developed. For residential, a land benefit factor of 818 per acre applies with a minimum assessment of $2.05. And a dependent development factor of 2403 applies to each residential parcel. The maximum special assessment for a typical residential parcel is $26.08 and cannot be increased without voter approval. Non-residential properties include commercial, professional office, and industrial uses. The city applies an assessment formula similar to residential properties. The maximum special assessment for a typical commercial parcel is $56.18. The SLD budget summary. In prior years, SLD1 has operated at a deficit, relying on the general fund to cover the excess costs. Staff estimates the maximum collection within SLD1 at $858,000. The projected expenditures for fiscal year 24-25 are $1.5 million, resulting in a budget deficit of about $676,000. To cover the deficit, $547,000 will be a reserve fund contribution, and $129,000 will be contributed from the general fund. In 1977, Rialto established LMD1 to fund the maintenance of exterior parkways and median irrigation and landscape adjacent to and associated with private land development. LMD1 is comprised of 3 zones: residentials with no trees, residential with trees, and non-residential multifamily. Each zone has an independent maximum special assessment, which is listed in your report. LMD1 budget summary. As a result of consistent increases in labor and utility costs, the costs to maintain the improvements within LMD1 and prior years exceed the maximum special assessment that can be levied within LMD1. The city estimates the total collections for residential zones 1 and 2 to be $475,000. The city estimates the total collection for the non-residential zone 3 within LMD1 to be $145,000. The projected expenditures for non-residential zone 3 is $513,000, resulting in a deficit of $367,000, relying on a general fund to cover the excess cost. The engineering report from LMD1 provides a full discussion of the LMD1, and detailed budget is included as attachment 2 of your report. In January 2005, the City Council established LLMD2. Within LLMD2, the city currently maintains over 50 acres of landscape areas and over 180 streetlights. This slide and the following slide provide maps of the current and future LLMD2 areas. The budget summary for the LLMD2. The total estimated expense for LLMD2 are $1.5 million for zones 1 through 18. The maximum allowable assessment that may be levied is $1.1 million. This results in a deficit of $408,000. To cover the deficit, $408,000 will be a reserve fund contribution, with 0 funds will be contributed from the general fund this year. The total estimated expense for Zone L is $19,400. Of those expenses, $16,000 are considered a general benefit to the city as a whole and are not covered by the assessment. The maximum allowable assessment that may be levied is $8,668, but only $3,000 and $3,011 in assessments are needed to cover the expenses as well as reserve fund collection. Staff is recommending that City Council defer any increase in special assessments at this time for all zones for benefit within LLMD2. The engineering report for LLMD2 provides a full discussion of the LLMD2, and a detailed budget is included as attachment 3 of your report. The next steps in the process is to hold a public hearing and adopt a resolution authorizing the levy of the assessments, maintaining the rates for fiscal year 24-25 and SLD1, LMD1, and LMD2. Thank you. That concludes my presentation, and I'm available for any questions as well as representatives from WEB.
Thank you. Okay. this is a public hearing, was there anyone who had submitted any applications to speak?
Yes, we have Lynn Summers.
Okay.
You, Philip, you have tab 3 and tab 4.
Well, this is tab 2.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Oh,
There'll be
tab
no
2.
one else. Okay, this is
Yeah.
tab
Yes.
2.
No, it's
All
no
right.
one.
If
Move
not,
to close the public hearing.
Second.
it's been moved by Councilmember Scott and seconded by Councilmember Trujillo to close the public hearing. Any objections? Hearing none, the public hearing is closed. Any questions? Councilmember Scott.
Just a couple. A number of years ago, we took over street lighting from Southern California Edison, which was supposed to be substantial savings for the city. But I suspect it really isn't based on current utility rates. But we've never gotten a report on the success or non-success of that program. So I'd like to ask that we get something on that so that we can kind of see where we're at. And my other question is, we haven't even put CPIs on these lighting, on these rates for a long time, probably 20 years. I really think at some point we need to start looking at doing that. And I would assume that has to go through a 218 process. Correct, Mr. City Attorney?
If it's within a landscaping lighting district, yes, we'd have to go through the assessment process.
Okay. And my final question to you, Mr. Arona, is are there any solar light fixtures for these are commercial street lights, obviously. Are there any solar lighting fixtures on the market?
Yeah, yes, there is.
So why have we not looked at beginning to change out our Edison extravagant rate lights with solar lighting? And why are we not requiring that on new development?
I could work with our CIP manager and look at the specs for new development, and we could look at introducing those.
I mean, I think it's something we should be looking at. Probably a number of us have solar lighting on our homes, and it's very efficient lighting and lasts quite a while. So I really think it's time to look at switching out some of these street lights with solar lighting, or at least look at requiring it on new development, parking lots and retail centers, et cetera.
Absolutely, we could look into that. And the electricity reduction was right about 12%.
12%?
12%, yes.
So, and that takes into account rate increases?
Correct. That was a actual comparison.
Okay, all right, appreciate that. Thank you.
Councilmember Trio.
I had a couple of questions. I was trying to, I went through the report, but I couldn't find out, is there a tree count in District 2?
A tree count? Let me check.
Is it there, I mean, you designate landscaping districts 1 and 2, 2 being with trees and 1 without. I mean, we obviously have a contract with the trees. Do you know what the count is, and has it been consistent? And you know, that's probably the most valuable part of the landscaping. It's mostly because, you know, if you want to take a walk, it kind of cools down.
Correct. We do
path.
have an active tree inventory. It's tracked through a different system, through West Coast Arborist. It gives us a tree inventory, location of the trees, health of the trees, condition, and tree trimming cycles. So if that's something you're interested in, I could provide it to you.
No, I mean, that's the most, I think it's the most valuable. One of the things that I hear from our residents is that, you know, sometimes it's really hard to walk the neighborhood or walk an area when it's just so hot out there, and the trees provide enough kind of shade. That's the most valuable piece of that. And, you know, residents pay into this landscaping project. You would think that they'd get some benefit out of it. And that's the
Absolutely.
only benefit that they really care about is the trees, because it's really hard to take a walk when it's this hot.
Not at all.
So now, do we keep the amount of trees, or I'm assuming because of some of our sidewalk issues, they pull out, they don't really replace them. Would our costs go down, or how does that work?
So we have a fixed maintenance amount that we spend every year specifically. The city is broken up into grids or zones, and depending on the dollar amount and how many trees are removed, how many trees are trimmed, those numbers fluctuate on a yearly basis. We don't often remove healthy trees. We try to do what we can to preserve them. If trees are removed, they are replaced. We have entered a agreement, cooperation with the tree people, where we have targeted LMD areas along the street for planning, where it would help beautify the parkways and the sidewalks, and also in our parks as well. So we are considering planting trees and adding that. There's a big push for the urban forest and urban forest management that we are working on.
Okay, the only reason I asked is I know that there's a lot of other types of landscaping, but I mean, the one they really care about is the trees. They want to have a nice walk around the neighborhood. Other than that, I just wanted to, if you can send me the count, and if it's fluctuated over the years, I just kind of want to have a idea of what our residents are really paying for.
Absolutely, no problem.
Thank you.
Any other questions? If not, I have a question too. I was looking at these maps, Zone 1, Zone 2, Zone 3, in the presentation under District Number 1. And this past weekend, we was invited to a meet and greet into our newest development, River Ranch. And I'm reading here in Zone 2 is the residentials with trees. And it looks like in the development area, if I'm reading this correctly in exit, it appears that there is trees in the new development. Now, what has come up as a question and needs to kind of get some more clarification is they pay an HOA in there, but yet and still the facility, to my understanding, is not exclusive just to the residents. It is apparently allows for certain people to go to the parks, and there's a question about the dog parks. So with that said, are we also maintaining the landscape in that residential park? Because it shows it's zoned with trees, but who's maintaining those?
From my understanding, there is the association maintains the city streets, are the streets in there, and all the landscape. The city does no work in that.
So we would not necessarily know the number of trees that are currently in the River Ranch. We didn't make any request of it. It's all left up to the developer?
Yes, I'm sure there's a planning schedule we could reference to get the amount of trees that they proposed during the project. So if that information is, I can provide that information.
Okay, this question, and I'm asking for some more clarification on behalf of the residents about the public's access to the facility, but that's one question. And following up on just what Councilmember Scott said with regards to the lighting, because I noticed that we did take over Edison's, and I've been looking at some of the structures, and they don't necessarily look like no one has been upgrading them or taking care of them. So, I would like to propose that I have had from one of our larger companies that handle energy as well, in addition to other things, they have offered to do a free energy assessment of some of the facilities. So I would hope that we give some thought to having someone look at it, because when he raised that, we're currently building our own parking lot right here in downtown, and it made me wonder, what are we putting in? Will we be putting in, or do you know, will those lighting facilities in the parking lot be solar generated, or will they just be the traditional lighting systems like we also currently have at, say, Metrolink station?
We are running LED lamps right now on all the new developments. So we're getting away from the metal halide, and we're replacing them with LED, which are more efficient. More.
But is there any solar driven to any of the activities that will be pulling or using any type of electricity?
Not to my knowledge, no. Nothing in the specs.
Okay, I would hope that maybe I see Mr. Sullivan back there, I hope that maybe we look at that and see if there's any way that we could capture putting some solar and generating a storage of electricity. But because it falls within a landscape district, right? I believe the downtown area still also falls into a landscape district.
Correct.
To some degree. Okay. All right, well, thank you. Well, with that, we close it. So is there any motion that anyone would like to, so we can move on this item?
Madam Mayor, move approval of Resolution 8268, 8269, and 8270.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Scott to move the resolutions, and it's been seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Carazellas. Any objections? Hearing none, the motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, tab 3.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and members of the council. This evening, I request that the City Council conduct a public hearing to consider the placement of solid waste handling service charges on the property tax roll for residential customers. On July 25th, 2017, the City Council adopted Resolution Number 7169 approving residential refuse collection service charges to be collected on the property tax roll. Prior to approving the placement of the service charges and fees on the tax roll, Health and Safety Code requires the City Council to conduct a public hearing. Notice of this public hearing was published in the San Bernardino Sun newspaper on July 8th of 2024 and July 15th of 2024. The city prepared a written report which contains description of each parcel and fees and charges subject to tax roll billing. This report is on file with the city clerk and is attached as Exhibit A to the proposed resolution authorizing the collection of fees and charges on the tax rolls. At this time, I would request that the City Council conduct a public hearing to consider the placement of solid waste handling service charges on the property tax roll and adopt Resolution Number 8271 authorizing the placement of solid waste handling service charges and fees on the property tax roll. This concludes my presentation, and I'm available for any questions.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, this is a public hearing, and I don't know if there was anyone that was interested in speaking on
Yes,
item.
now that is Miss Lynn Summers.
Okay, tab 3. Okay.
First of all, again, I want to say thank you for allowing me to just come up and kind of ask a question. Why would we allow a for-profit company to even be able to do this? I mean, and what I've read from this, and please educate me if I'm saying something wrong, but why would you go and be able to put this on someone's property taxes? If there's something that is delinquent, then you go straight to them and go to the residents to make sure that the residents are taking care of their payments, not putting it on someone's property taxes. So I would love to sit down and talk and find out exactly what this is all about. But when I saw it, I think I just kept reading and trying to, on my phone, trying to get some more information. And please help me understand what this is all about. I just don't think that this is something that the city should start trying to be collecting taxes on behalf of someone else's business.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Anyone else? I think if Ms. Crowe, if you would like to respond, this is not something new. I don't know in our report if it states when we started having, since 2017.
Correct.
Right, okay, so maybe after we go through the public hearing, you can get with Mrs. Summers and explain that this is not something we're just doing now. It's a process that we go through annually and agree upon. Okay. Anyone else? If not, we've
Move to close the public hearing.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Scott, seconded by Councilmember Trujillo to close the public hearing. Any objections? Hearing none, the public hearing is closed. And again, I would just like to state that just for the report, this is a process that the council took collectively back on 2017 as a way to collect resources. Residents can always opt out to not have their monthly bill put into a process such as this, but it is an opt-out. I know, because I have opted out. I pay my bill monthly. So it is a choice, and I think in the course of the noticing in 2017, it informs people of that. They can elect to opt out. So it's a voluntary process that property owners choose to do, commercial owners choose to do, and but the responsibility to not go through this process rests with the residents and with the businesses. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Commercial accounts are not on property tax
That's right.
billing.
Sorry.
Only residential.
Residential. Okay, so with that, does anybody else have any other? Oh, Councilmember Scott?
I want to point out that these are not delinquent trash bills
That's
at all. These are the annual tax or trash bills for residents that choose to opt into this program. And if I remember right, they actually get a discount for opting into this program.
That
correct?
is also correct, yes.
Okay, and it's voluntarily, so some people do, some people don't.
And if you opt out, it's a one-time opt-out application. There isn't a renewal each year. It'll continue to be opted out unless you choose to go back to tax roll billing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, I didn't know. And then just to add that, I think we should also, there's a number, maybe we can provide that as to the number that have voluntary. It's kind of like an auto discount if you choose this path versus opting out. Maybe we could give those numbers to our lady as to how many have opted out and how many have stayed in.
Move
Anybody?
approval.
Okay. It's been moved by Councilmember.
Second.
Oh, okay. Moved by Councilmember Baca, seconded by Councilmember Trujillo. Any objections to the motion? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, tab 4.
Well, tab 4 is coming up, Madam Mayor. For the motion, with the motion, Councilmember Baca and Trujillo, and the council, it will be resolution 8271 to authorize the placement of the solid waste handling service charge and fees on the property road tax. Thank you.
Okay, good evening.
Good evening,
Tab-
Madam Mayor, Mayor
tab
Pro
4.
Tem, and members of the council. My name is Nicole Hemmon, Senior Analyst for the Utility Department. Tonight's tab item 4 is to request City Council, Rialto Utility Authority to conduct a public hearing regarding the placement of sewer service charges on the county property tax roll for delinquent wastewater payments. On June 25th, 2024, the City Council approved the scheduling of this public hearing for today, July 23rd. The City of Rialto, Rialto Utility Authority, also known as RUA, provides sewer services throughout the entire city and areas of Bloomington. Where RUA provides water service, both water and sewer are billed together. In instances of delinquent accounts, RUA has the authority to impose penalties and discontinue water services as a way to encourage payment. However, in some areas of the city, water services is provided by either West Valley Water District or Fontana Water Company, and RUA only handles billing for sewer services. Accounts that are billed solely for sewer have a high delinquency rate, as RUA cannot discontinue services for lack of payment. In order to collect sewer-only accounts more effectively, the RUA Municipal Code enables the placement of delinquent charges on the property tax bills through the County Tax Collector's Office. Notices were sent on May 31st to the delinquent account holders, alerting them of RUA's plan to place the delinquency charges on the tax roll and also to give them one last opportunity to pay. The last date for a customer to pay would have been June 24th, 2024. The total amount to be levied is $1,031,265, and there are 1,309 delinquent accounts. A copy of the notification letter and notice of public hearing are included as attachments 1 and 2. The final list of delinquent properties is to be levied and is included as attachment 4. This item was presented to the Water Subcommittee on May 29th, 2024, and to the Utilities Commission on June 18th, 2024. At this time, I request City Council Rialto Utility Authority to conduct a public hearing related to the placement of charges on the county property tax roll for delinquent wastewater payments and approve City Resolutions number 8272 and RUA Resolution number 08-39, authorizing the placement of delinquent wastewater charges on the property tax roll with the San Bernardino County Auditor Controller Recorder's Office. This concludes my presentation. I'm available to answer any questions you have.
Thank you. Okay, this is a public hearing. Is there anyone who's indicated they would like to speak on tab number 4?
Lynn Summers.
Ms. Summers?
Yeah.
But she, I'm sorry, she's gone? Okay, second. Okay, was that the only?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Move
Okay.
to close the public hearing.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Scott, seconded by Councilmember Trujillo to close public hearing. Is there any objections? Hearing none, motion carries. Comments, questions, or action?
Move approval of Resolution 8272, RUA Resolution 08-39.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Scott to move the item and seconded by Councilmember Baca. Is there any objections to the motion? And I believe, did you read the resolution number into the record? Hearing no objections, the motion carries. And the last item I believe we have is tab 6.
No, we had tab 5. And then
Oh, I'm sorry, did I miss 5? I thought that was it. I thought. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was flipped over. Tab 5, sorry about that.
No.
Shama.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and members of the City Council. Before you tonight for your consideration of adoption are 3 resolutions relating to the Memorandum of Understanding for the Teamsters Mid-Management and Confidential Union. The MOU attached to Resolution 8273 is a 2-year term from July 1, 2023 through June 30th, 2025, and provides for a cost of living adjustment retroactive to July 1, 2023 of 6%. There is another COLA increase of 5% retroactive to July 1, 2024. Also included in the MOU is a one-time non-personable bonus pay of $16.10 to be given to each unit member within this group, as well as an increase to the medical cash allowance to keep pace with the increasing costs of medical premiums. This amount is $250 per month. The fully burdened cost of this agreement will total $588,520. Resolution 8275 requests a budget appropriation of $291,520 to cover the retro increases from the previous year in addition to the one-time bonus pay. And finally, Resolution 8274 updates the citywide classification and compensation plan to provide for these COLA increases to the TMMU group. This concludes my presentation, and I'm available for any questions you may have.
All right, thank
Madam
you.
Chair, move approval of Resolution 8273, Resolution 8274, and adopt Budget Resolution 8275.
Second.
All right, it's been moved by Councilmember Baca and seconded by Councilmember Scott. Is there any objections to the motion? They're hearing none. Thank you. The motion carries. All right. Now moving right on to tab 6. And that will be presented.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. The item before you is requesting to award a construction contract to KNC Construction in the amount of $542,000 for the Rialto Library Atrium Conversion Project, and to authorize the interim city manager to execute all documents. On November 15, 2022, the City Council approved a funding agreement with the County of San Bernardino in the amount of $700,000. On April 11, 2023, the City Council approved a purchase order with West Group Designs in the amount of $141,680 pursuant to their on-call professional services agreement for professional architectural services. On January 23, 2024, the City Council authorized the release of bids for the project. On March 5, 2024, the City received 6 bids. Staff found KNC Construction to be appropriately licensed and qualified as the lowest responsible and responsive bid. Following the bid results, the City Council approved the 6th Amendment to the lease agreement with the County of San Bernardino on May 28, 2024, authorizing an additional one-time payment of $124,000 to cover expenses related to the project for a total budget amount of $824,000. The project consists of the conversion of existing outdoor atriums to new fully enclosed study rooms to expand the library uses for the community. The project is fully funded by the County of San Bernardino through the Grant Project Fund. I am available for any questions. Thank you.
Move approval, Madam Mayor.
Second. It's been moved by Councilmember Baca and seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Carrizales. Any objections to the motion? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that concludes all the actions for the council. And before we go into our reports, I would ask if Ms. Alvarado would come up, be kind enough to give us what's going on in Rialto. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, and members of the council. Here is what's going on in Rialto. On Thursday, July 25th, we will be having our senior auction at the Grace Vargas Senior Center. It will be a live auction, and they will be bidding on donations that have been given to the senior center. Should be a very live party. It will be at 2 p.m. Girls Volleyball Championships will be this Friday, July 26th at the Carl Johnson Center, starting at 6:30 p.m. Movies in the Park will be this Friday, July 26th at Joe Sampson. It will be our last movie in the park until next summer. We'll be showing Wonka. Fun starts at 7 p.m. Basketball Championships will be Saturday, July 27th at the Johnson Center, starting at 11:40 a.m. Drowning Prevention will be this Saturday, July 27th at Tom Sawyer Pool from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. The teens will also be doing a cardboard boat races in the pool. I think they have 3 built so far. Monday night flag football will be on Monday, July 29th at Ferguson Park. It will be Rialto Panthers versus our public safety teams. And National Night Out will be Tuesday, August 6th at Rialto City Park from 5 to 8:30 p.m. And your save the dates. Petapalooza will be Saturday, September 21st here at Civic Center from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Viva La Fiesta will be Saturday, September 28th at Jerry Eves Park from 5:30 to 9 p.m. And Walk Like Mad will be a Saturday, October 5th at Joe Sampson Park. I think registration starts at 6 a.m. that day. So.
Okay. Thank you for the information. All right. With that, I will ask who would like to lead in their Any reports? How about you, Councilmember Baca?
Well, first of all, I attended the Rialto Heritage Day along with, I saw the mayor. She was in attendance for it. It was a good event, well attended by by a lot of members from the community, including individuals that came from outside the city for Heritage Day too as well. I talked to some people that were from Fontana, Rancho Cucamonga. It was very well done, and the fire department played an excellent part in having some of the old fire trucks that were on display for them. And the kids did an outstanding job in their performance. Again, I want to thank the Parks and Recreation for being involved, the police department for being there as well. Both the police and fire have been almost at every one of our events that we've had in the city of Rialto, and I thank them for being there and participating along with many of the other individuals. It was a great event, and I'm glad I enjoyed it and had an opportunity to see the mayor in action as well.
Well, thank you. Councilmember Scott?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I want to wish Chief Melanie Park a happy birthday. She's the real chief of our fire department, in case anybody didn't know. Today is her birthday, so please wish her a happy birthday from us. Also, Chief Ryan Cathy's birthday was yesterday. Happy birthday. Chief, yes? Is it your birthday too? Okay.
But he'd like to wish you a happy birthday anyway.
So that's it. I do want to make a comment tonight on the increased homelessness in the city. It's becoming more and more prevalent in our city, and I think we have to look at some resources to try to deal with it. Unfortunately, there are people everywhere in the neighborhoods, shopping centers. Some of our shopping centers are not too safe. So I think we've got to focus more on dealing with homelessness and do something about it. I also want to commend Public Works for the job they're doing. A lot of good projects going on around the city. Things are getting done. It's nice to see. And I just want to let everybody know that the tiller is broke. It's in a shop, so there's no tiller running around the city.
Oh, I saw it.
Nope, not today, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
And that's all I have, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Trujillo?
Yeah, I'd like to echo some of the comments on the homelessness. I know that as we're driving through even the edges of town, I see a lot of kind of encampments along Pepper Avenue and areas just right outside of our city. And I'm hoping maybe we could create some type of partnership with San Bernardino to address at least those areas and be able to at least try to address some of the homelessness coming into the city. The other thing is just want to thank Cynthia. She did an amazing 4th of July. I was there with my daughter. She got a chance to the bass with the band, and we really enjoyed our experience there. So just wanted to thank Cynthia for a great 4th of July. A lot of people in attendance, a lot of games for the kids, and they had 2 stages. They had one for the band, and they had one for a DJ. And so it was just great family fun. Also attended the River Ranch meeting with the mayor. You know, they do, as was mentioned, they do pay HOA fees to upkeep some of their amenities, but because the streets and the sidewalks are from the city, it's accessible. Maybe there's something we could look at to try to help their situation. You know, because everything is open, they can't just kind of keep people out from vandalizing or creating a nuisance in the amenities. So maybe that's something we could work with some of the staff in the future. And then I just wanted to just say a really early happy back to school to all of our students. I know it's going to start right away at the beginning of August. So wanted to welcome all the students back in advance, and also wanted to ask both of the chiefs who's gonna win our national night out. There you go. You guys look forward to your cookouts. So it'd be really nice.
It's already done, the voting's already taken place.
How funny.
We had early voting this year.
There you go, early voting. And I just wanted to wish my daughter as well happy birthday. She's a great company. There's a lot of birthdays here. And again, wish her a 13. Thank you so much.
He doesn't know that council is in the contest apparently, huh?
What?
Trujillo. Person next to you.
I entered the city council and.
That's what I'm saying.
You didn't know that? And
That's not a cheat
and
sheet.
people voting on ours will buy tickets at $10 to vote and see, you know?
I'm gonna have to take out my molcajete and start grinding my peppers.
Well, as long as you don't grind the brisket. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I also want to share some comments about the homelessness here in our city. I've been hearing a lot from our restaurant community and from a lot of the business owners on Baseline and Foothill. I understand that SWAG and our police department is doing a fantastic job, but I believe that the amount of increase is in the whole region has just for some reason I heard a rumor that they're being shipped out from the west side, so we really have to probably scale up our resources with SWAG, because the amount of increase, the amount of calls that I've been getting from some of the business owners in the community and restaurants has just ticked up big time. So we want to I want to ask the chief that we revisit the efforts with SWAG, and that we just continue to stay on top of that, because I just keep getting calls and I could see it myself. So let's continue to stay on top of that to make sure that our residents can be in our shopping centers and can go to their favorite restaurants without being hassled as they come into the restaurants. Also had the opportunity to join the 4th of July festivities. As always, they were Cynthia Alvarado. As always, she blows it out of the park, and we had a lot of people that came out from all of our neighboring cities. I even had some friends and family that came all the way from Moreno Valley to check out our fireworks show. So the only comment that I will have is, and I already mentioned this to Cynthia, to see if we can kind of change the schedule of the actual fireworks show, maybe make it a little bit shorter, but with a bigger ending bang, a bigger grand finale, so that we can really enjoy it. Because I believe that as much as it's a great fireworks show, in my opinion, it was a little bit too long. So if we get it to shorten and with a bigger bang, a bigger grand finale, I think that would be best. So we'll look at those scenarios when the time comes. Other than that, that's all I got, Madam Mayor.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, well, quickly, I think Councilmember Baca mentioned that we were together, and I said it earlier, the Heritage Day, and in partnership with the Historical Society, was really a great event. I came early in the morning, 9. I think the Baca came around about, I think you got there about 10, because you had some other engagement. But it was great. Had a wonderful time speaking with everyone and being out there. I want to also note that besides bringing the fire, and that was just absolutely amazing, the balloon person created a a toy that the kids run. That's a fire truck with a ladder, okay? So that's why I told you, the tiller is not broken, okay?
I wonder if that one could get through the Panera drive-through. I think that's how it broke.
Is that trying to get through Panera?
That's how the
Anyway, but one of the really joys and jewel of the Inland Empire was the opportunity to see Mr. Adams, John Adams, who is now has medical conditions, but he was there that day in our council chambers, and he was there to be interviewed. There he is. I did not know he was going to be there. However, I went that morning with one of his books, and it was just amazing blessing to see him, because I have been working, I spent 3 hours this past week with the Rialto Unified School District on the STEM program, and the book, Schemers and Scammers and Dreamers, the things in early Rialto, is a book worth reading. But having John there, I was able to ask him if he would mind or wouldn't object if I took some of the various interesting passages in his book and make a smaller version for our school district to, when the kids are going in April, they study civic. And I'd like to just pull some of those things out of the book. They're really comical, they're very important, but there also speaks to the rich heritage and the major things that the city of this community, this area of Rialto, overcame early in water, in technology, and even the fact that there was land that was being sold from the Midwest and come out, and they had it kind of featured as if it was like what you see in Hollywood, only for them to get out here and find out they had bought land and it was basically truly nothing but sage and snakes. There was not a tree in sight, and there's some pictures, but how people really worked and made some positive things happen. And some of the patents and things that came out of our area, I'm not gonna give you guys any indication, but you really should read it. It's a true story, true things that happened here in Rialto, especially with regards to water irrigation systems and controlling water control. So he said he was happy, he's agreed, and the school district. So I'm looking forward to figuring out how we will bring out some of the highlights in that book. Then I also met with him this week again for about an hour, because we will be featuring in September a project that we've had underway for about 3 years in our wastewater treatment plant, and it's a first in the nation project that was featured and covered by finances through the California Energy Commission, the State Water Board, on really looking at a membrane. I think most of us are familiar with the project. It's under BDP, it's still out there. And so we will be hosting an event with hopefully all the state agencies coming in partnership with the city and the school district. Then the other thing I would say is this is our first meeting, our only meeting in July. So as folks have said about the 4th of July, I wasn't there because the 4th of July is one of our planning commissioners' birthday, who happens to be my brother-in-law, Artis Gilbert. Happy belated late birthday, but he is actually born on the 4th of July. And it was his 85th birthday, so I asked that you guys, 85. Yeah, so by the time you talk about the what, yours was long and very antiquated. No, I sat there.
It was for my wedding anniversary.
It was your wedding anniversary too? Okay. Well then, so anyway, I just would like to say no, but it's been a wonderful thing, not to mention the heat around here. The homeless situation, yes, you're not the only one who spoke about it and raised it, and it's something that I think this past Thursday, Councilmember Trio and I did a subcommittee meeting, and we also addressed homeless concerns and resources. And I'm not wanting to put someone on the spot, but our West Valley board member, Mr. Calvin Moore, who's sitting in the audience behind someone, I believe, he also informed me that he has just been designated at his faith base, Loveland. They've just designated him as pastor over community services. And he also talked to me about wanting to figure out what they can do in partnership with us and faith-based to try and address homeless situations in our community and I guess wherever the congregation. So it's a lot going on. I want to, before I close, we've got a number of new youth students, interns. I don't know if they've all been introduced because, like I said, this is our only meeting in July, and they all came on in July 1st. So I'm going to start off with introduction of mine, who is incoming. Will be a high school senior. She is at Carter. She's the ASB president for Carter. Following after Alicia was the senior president for the senior class. She's our ASB president for the whole school. And I would just ask Amaya, I won't put her on the spot to come up and speak, but if you don't mind and stand, I'd appreciate if you guys welcome Amaya Bolton. Okay, she's been on board, and I will turn it back over to Councilmember Trio. However, I have to say that finding this young man here in our space, it was amazing. I was excited because I had already met him over the summer when there was some STEM projects going on up at the school district, and he had created a fascinating project. But I found out that Miss Juanita Chan reached out. She managed to contact you to see if there was an opportunity for an internship. And so I'm going to turn it over to you so you can introduce
I just want to introduce Mark
Rivas.
Rivas, if you want to stand up.
Yeah.
He's alumni from Eisenhower High School.
Okay.
Thank you.
Alumni from Eisenhower, graduate, and he's currently going to San Bernardino Valley. And last but not least, she's not new, just coming in, but welcoming her back. She is my current college intern who has been at North Carolina A&T. She's back for the summer for a while before she goes back to North Carolina A&T. It will be her second year, but during this summer, instead of coming fully back to work during the summer, she also had an opportunity to go to Texas A&M and study, because she's in environmental studies, study the climate change on the impacts of the major crops in Texas. And that happens to be studying climate change and impacts to cotton and sorghum. So I would ask if Genesis Igram Boulagon would stand up. And she's in her second year, right? Third year when she goes back to North Carolina A&T. So we have some really great minds here working with us. And so with that, I think there was one young man in the front, and I believe he was already working for you.
Yes, that Eric, he's still here and he's still chipping away and counting
Eric,
potholes and
counting potholes and cracked sidewalks
and parks and everything.
So Eric,
Yeah,
please
he's-
stand up. Okay. So that's concluded for me for now, and I don't know, Madam City Clerk, is there anybody you would like to highlight, or how about the treasurer?
Not that I want to highlight
You don't
anyone,
have
but
a
Councilmember Scott asked me to just update the council regarding the question I raised about the discrepancy of the economic reserve account. And I've met with our chief financial officer, and we met again today, and they're working on reconciling the account, and hopefully before the end of the month, we'll have an accurate number between the both of us.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Council, is there anything you would like to add this evening?
Nothing this evening, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And City Manager, how about you?
Yes, Madam
Thank
Mayor. I would like to thank you, Mayor Robinson, and Councilman Ed Scott for holding a special Water Committee meeting to go over the sewer and solid waste rates on your vacation. You provided staff with policy direction, which really, I think, helped tonight for the public hearing to go smoothly. And I'd like to thank Toyasha, Tanya, Eric, Steve, Art, Mark for really presenting the information that you were asking for, and the entire council embracing what you did tonight. It was a very smooth public hearing, and I think the residents will appreciate what you've done for them. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Milhauser. And we do have two subcommittee meetings tomorrow, and I know that you may be able to join us, maybe late and maybe not, but I appreciate that you've been here. So with that, anything else? If not, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
I'll second it if no one else wants it, and without any objection, we're adjourned. Okay, good night.